Yeah, as mentioned, my name is Chris Lefebvre, and that's not actually how you say my name, it's Chris Lefebvre. And my talk is called Advertising is a Tax on the Poor, and that's okay. I work with a company called Pretio Interactive out of Victoria, BC. It's a mobile monetization company, and I'm extremely grateful to work for an advertising company that will pay me to stand here and tell you all that advertising is a tax on the poor. And I'm equally grateful for Pocket Gamer for hosting us. Just to preface the talk, so this is sort of intended to be a fun thought experiment that looks at how advertising interacts with game economies and how that can pass value back onto the user. And there's some political content in there for fun. So if you have any hard views, I don't. I just did this for fun. So enjoy yourselves. Before I get into the thought experiment, I thought I should just tell you a little bit about myself, as I do enjoy talking about myself quite a bit. So the first thing I did in gaming was working with Cosmocoria, a PC game, helping on its Kickstarter campaign. We were lucky enough to hit 250% of our Kickstarter goal, which is more impressive than the dollar amount, but so that's why the percentage is up there. And probably one of the funner things that came out of it was the PewDiePie coverage that we got, and the audio isn't on, but that's fine. He's screaming as he does, and the whole Donald Trump thing is a bit weird, but it will actually tie into some of the content later. From there, I began doing user acquisition and free-to-play games online, really just driving, really focusing in on driving quality installs wherever possible. And the main reason that's there is obviously because they said something nice about me on my LinkedIn profile, and that's my second favorite thing after talking about myself. So I thought I'd put that up there. I worked with a lot of different companies, Wargaming, Gaijin, Marvel Heroes, a whole slew. A lot of fun. Since joining, I'm having a hard time walking around at this table here, but I'll maybe just stand, give myself this pacing space. Since joining Predio, continuously trying to involve myself in games and add value wherever I can. So currently I act as a judge for Indie Prize, testing 300 games 4 times a year. Definitely seen a lot in terms of trends and mechanics and genre combinations, monetization techniques, the rest. And also like geographically centralized trends as well. So seeing what's happening in Europe, seeing what's happening in Asia and in North America. On a more local front, working with the IGDA in Victoria to help them market and promote the annual game jams. We actually have one coming up at the end of October, so if anybody's interested in talking about that afterwards, it'd be great to have you guys out, or even come down for a meetup and maybe do a guest talk there. So that's enough about me. Why are you listening to me? Well, hopefully it's because you're one of 2 groups of people. You're either a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed game developer who wants to make money doing what they love, or you were a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed game developer. You're slightly more jaded now, and you're trying to continuously make money doing something that you probably don't love as much as you used to, but are still fond of. So given that this is the monetize, acquire, retain track, I wanted to sort of just set up this thought experiment within those sort of 3 core components. So looking at sort of what you're up against or what you're dealing with in the mobile marketing landscape. To start with the acquisition, we know paid user acquisition is extremely expensive. We did see a year-over-year decrease in costs for the loyal user, but we also know that winter is coming, and with it, higher acquisition costs as we try to clamor to get onto the new devices that come with the holiday season. So definitely fairly daunting. $250 might not sound like a lot of money, but when you consider the retention figures of the industry, it's kind of demoralizing or terrifying to consider the fact that on a single day, about 40% of your money is almost literally thrown in the garbage, or after 30 days, almost all of it. But if you've managed to scrap together a pretty decent user acquisition budget, and you manage to actually keep some people in your game, now you can focus on making money through purchases, right? Well, not always. According to Swerve, under 2% of users are ever going to make a purchase, which isn't very attractive. Additionally, they'll do so once a month on average and for a fairly small amount of money. We're actually seeing less whales. Whales, I think, are becoming an endangered species in mobile, possibly because of the vast amount of games that are available to play. So we're seeing a decrease in the amount of users who will make multiple purchases per month. And then something that last point there that I thought was kind of interesting, just the idea that most paying users will do so on day 1, but we already know that day 1 retention is as terrifying as it is. So just kind of interesting to kind of keep these sort of higher level pieces of information in mind. So if you're still listening to me and not just crushing some emails, it's probably because you're trying to avoid starvation or scurvy, like these game developers who couldn't even afford brand macaroni and cheese. That's off-brand. So here begins the thought experiment. if we can all agree that advertising is a tax on the poor, which we can say that it is. Most games allow the user to make a one-time purchase, which will remove most forms of advertisement, and they don't make that purchase. They're then taxed via consuming ads. Then we can, by combining ad content and ad formats, we can kind of create something that resembles a political spectrum. And I definitely recommend you check out the talk by Scott Galloway. Really, really cool stuff. So it's basically up to you as game developers to levy this tax against your users, and it's up to you to decide how aggressive this form of taxation is going to take. Are you going to use ads similar to banners or interstitials, be they static or video, where you essentially provide the user no additional value, and I say additional because obviously the game in itself has inherent value, but yeah, are you essentially going to use ads that provide the zero additional value for interacting with them? They are essentially the Donald Trumps of ads. They are loud, obnoxious, intrusive, and there is a terrifying probability that they'll never ever go away. Moving a little bit further down that spectrum into where we begin to see in-app value exchange take place, largely in the form of rewarded video. So this is a very, very popular form of ads, and this is definitely where value exchange begins to occur, where the tax becomes less moderate. But I think if you look at rewarded video very much as is the case for Hillary Clinton's political career, if you begin to pull back the layers a little bit, you'll begin to question the long-term sustainability of the model. For one, I don't know anybody that actually watches rewarded video. I know I don't. I played like probably 50 games this week and opted in to watch potentially 100 different ads, and I can think of maybe 2 games that I remember seeing the commercial for. So people aren't actually watching rewarded video. It's a great way to make money, and I definitely don't recommend not using it. But in terms of long-term sustainability, it definitely begs the question of how long it'll last. And then it's also important to keep in mind that a lot of times developers aren't necessarily getting paid on a video view, but they're getting paid on the install. And we already know that user acquisition is as expensive as it is. And it seems mind-boggling to me that we're advertising competitors' products within our own when it's so hard to keep that user. So just something to keep in mind there as well. At the end of the day, it's all about LTV, and if you come out positive, that's great. But what I really wanted to focus in on was, okay, so there is value exchange taking place, that users being given value for interacting with the ad, but what does that look like, and what's a fun way to frame it? So I want to take this opportunity to showcase a local studio, Hothead, who do amazing work, and their game Boom Boom Soccer. So this is basically just looking at their in-app economy. So we see that per average, a unit of gold is just under 2 pennies, and that through their rewarded video, I believe Tapjoy is their provider, so there's many opportunities to perform incentivized actions to get in-game currency. But for the purposes of brevity in this talk, I just wanted to keep it strictly to the rewarded video. So just a fun little way of framing this. They get 3 gold for watching a 30-second video. We know how much that gold is worth and how long it takes to acquire. So essentially, Hothead Games is paying its users $7 an hour to interact with ads, which is a really good deal. You're not going to get that from TV. You're not going to get that from radio, print, or anything else. So definitely, it's really nice to see. But something that's important to stress about this value exchange is that it occurs entirely in-app. There's nothing outside of the app that user can call their own that they can then associate with the game and potentially help increase retention. So just something to keep in mind there. Moving to the most benevolent extreme of the ads, and what I consider to be the sexiest of ad formats, we start to see the display of brand content in the form of real-world rewards. Some of you are probably wondering why I have a naked picture of Justin Trudeau, Canada's Prime Minister, on the slide. And I hope the Canadians understand this, but it's because it's 2016. So looking at a Predio ad, so this is served in the format of a static interstitial, where a user is provided a 15% coupon for this content. We can basically run that same calculation, so we know, what that discount is worth, how much value that passes to the user, and how long that value takes to acquire. We can actually see that Pretio Interactive ads, on average, well, in this particular instance, are paying users an hourly wage of $633, which is, I had double checked. I mean, it's just simple like division and multiplication, but I had like an actual developer look at this because it is very suspect. But it is in fact the case. And what's really nice about this is that value can be retained outside of app. And so why is that important? Well, going back to acquisition and retention, we know that the #1 challenge facing developers is discovery, and that the #1 source of downloads are social and emotional connections. So being verbally told to play a game, or seeing somebody play a game, and then asking that person what it is and playing it yourself. So these are the most important, and this is actually 2015's info. I'm pretty sure featured outranks advertisements at this point. So it's extremely, extremely important to provide people an emotional catalyst to talk about your game. And I don't know about you, but when I get something for free that I want, I tell everybody else how to get that free thing. If there's free pizza down the road, I'll be like, guys, there's free pizza, everyone hit it, and everybody be eating that pizza, the pizza will be gone. So something to keep in mind, you want to give people an emotional catalyst, an emotional reason to talk about your game. And so just looking at how we further, basically create that emotional catalyst. So not only are we giving somebody something for free that they want, but the very nature of the value exchange that Predio ads provides is extremely different. So you're not saying to yourself, you're not saying to your user, okay, watch this ad, we'll give you a few coins, thank you so much. The value that the user is providing you is actually engagement. So our ads are placed during positive moments in game. So you get a high score, you level up, whatever the case may be. We create a nice opt-in flow that then serves that ad. So the value that the user is giving you is engagement. And what you're giving them is a prize for doing it, something that they can hold on to outside of the game and ideally have enough emotional reason to tell their friends and family about this game. So I rambled on pretty quickly there, but that's pretty much all I have for you. So happy to take any questions on anything.
So you're familiar with Keep?
Yes.
Because they tried this like 3 years ago, and then they eventually found it didn't work, and they went back to just giving currency.
Yeah, there's definitely, and is it quite a challenge to even use the word rewards in front of a developer? Because every time I do, they're like, oh, good, yeah, real word, or incentivized videos, I get it totally. And so there's always this backtrack. We work quite closely with Keep, filling a lot of their ad requests on the non-incentivized side. So, yeah, I think more and more brands, particularly retail, are entering the mobile space, and I think that it will become, I think there'll be like less education around it. So eventually, I think it'll definitely be adopted a little bit more. But certainly, I think the dominance of rewarded video is what makes it hard to understand, because rewarded video is just like so easy and everyone gets it. And yes, but I mean, I was talking with some people yesterday and more on the UA side, because I'm curious, like, if you're out for user acquisition, which is where all the money is coming from for rewarded video, how well is that working out for you? And I mean, it's like the quality of an incentivized install. It's exactly what you think it is. It's not very good by and large. So I think I think that kind of comes back. I mean, it'll be interesting to see where this model goes, but it'll also be interesting to see where rewarded video goes, because I'm not sure how long people are going to be footing the bill on that when the quality of the install isn't very good. So.